Scary-faced goblins, evil monsters, and things that go bump in the night. So much for dating people I meet on the internet. Tonight we have Gals and Ghouls, only on USA's Real Wild Cinema. Tonight, join me if you dare. I'm Sandra Bernhardt, and I've heard some of you call me scary. Well, faint of heart wimps, wait till you see what I have in store for you tonight on Real Wild Cinema. See, I know how to get a monster's blood boiling. Show it and expose breast. That's why I've sliced and diced our schlocky films so you get only the choicest creep shows and hottest peep shows. Our first feature was originally titled The Horror of Spider Island. Well, if you want to get technical, the real original title was Ein Toter Zink ein Netz. But here in the States we say, it's hot in paradise. It was made by a West German cast and crew and filmed in Yugoslavia. Something about a desert island, plane crash, survivors, and an enormous monster spider. But you'd never know by trying to read their lips. The voice dubbing on this one is a little loose. Actually, I think the so-called spider is kind of cute. He looks like E.T. with 8 legs. I've been thinking of merchandising this film and calling him the Tickle Me Arachnid doll. He'll even have his own website. It's hot in paradise and about to get even hotter.
Get all over me. New long boots for these so beautiful.
Come on, hurry up. Look, come here. Look, a cabin.
Let's get out of here.
Dead man in a huge web.
Bellamy. Who was it? Didn't you see anyone?
No, it all happened so quickly.
A scream? And she'd already disappeared.
Maybe the spider killed the professor. And Linda. We found a gigantic spider, dead. It was shot with the professor's own revolver. And Gary's bracelet was laying there beside it.
That's him. Get back. Quiet.
Hands up! Stop or I'll shoot. Okay, turn around. Where's Gladys?
Ah.
Gladys!
Look here. Who's that?
My friend Bob. We work together for Professor Green.
Why, he's a big uranium research man. I met him before in the Reeds.
A researching researcher. And tonight we'll dance and really raise the roof.
I want to be all alone with you.
How about the house?
Not in the house. Someplace where we'll be all alone.
You know what? We'll meet at the lagoon.
Okay, but so that no one will notice.
Good. We'll meet in 15 minutes on the trail down to the water. All set?
Of course.
But be on time. I hate waiting.
Bobby.
Try and help Gladys. I'll go back and get the ammunition. Quick! Wait. Each of you take a torch. Then we'll chase him. We can only destroy him with fire. Quicksand starts here. Let her dead. And continue living.
Apparently, there are 3 things that can kill this evil spider dude: fire, quicksand, and those bills from his orthodontist. When we come back, something really scary. A man who plays with dolls.
I have a feeling that someone keeps touching me, following me.
Real Wild Cinema gets touchy-feely right after this. I never thought a woman could be perverted enough to make our next film, Indecent Desires. Doris Wishman proved me wrong. Although this quirky director did try to maintain her reputation by changing her credit on this little gem to Louis Silverman, sure, blame it on a guy, Doris. Shot in New York in 1967, Indecent Desires is about a man that befriends a little dolly who looks a lot like Veronica Lake with herpes simplex. Though the man doesn't turn out to be very nice in the end, he starts off being a very caring and sensitive lover. Watch and see what even I consider to be Indecent Desires.
Open. Come on in. What would you do if it was a man that came in? Look at you. That would be nice. What's the matter with you? You must be going out of your mind.
I am crazy. I am going out of my mind.
Anne!
Look, I love you. Whatever is wrong, we'll work it out together.
I have a feeling that someone keeps touching me, following me.
Oh, my God.
don't know about you, but I was left high and dry in that scene with that horny Liz Taylor lookalike in her size 12 panties. Whew. Clearly there was some sexual tension going on. But then the creep got the blonde all stoked up, and yet another opportunity was missed by poor Liz. Coming up, a truly frightening recipe.
Take one plump young woman, dice, and brown over a slow fire.
Still hungry? Grab a snack, because I'll be right back with our guests Lloyd Kaufman and Roger Corman. The hair on the back of my neck is absolutely standing on end, because we have with us the master of mayhem, Roger Corman, and the outrageous Lloyd Kaufman. Welcome, gentlemen.
Nice to be Happy to be here.
So what is your connection? I know that you're a big admirer of Roger's, and what's the background to your relationship so people get a little insight?
Well, when I was at Yale, I made the mistake of hanging out with some film buffs, and my life was ruined, partly by Mr. Corman, whose movies I had seen, and I loved them.
Right.
Showed that you could make top quality, provocative, interesting, well-acted movies on a modest budget.
Right, right.
And I was ruining my youth making those movies.
And this youth came...
Yeah, that's how Troma was formed. Troma was formed because Roger proved that you could make good, controlled budget, independent movies.
Right, right. I mean, you gave so many big filmmakers their start. I mean, it's like Scorsese and Coppola, Jack Nicholson, Ron Howard. Are there any other names that come back to you, Lloyd? Or...
Well, again, one of the nice things about independent movies is that it is a spawning ground. It's a sort of a toxic swamp where eccentric people like Oliver Stone can get their start, hone their craft, and then, which he did at Troma. We have the first two Kevin Costner movies. De Niro is in an early film that we have.
Was Kevin in the films, or did he direct them?
He starred in two of them.
Right.
So it's a place where people can get their start and be eccentric because the budgets are not huge, and they can take some chances. And the people who direct them, like Roger and I, can let them flap their wings to mutant glory.
Exactly.
To a large extent, what we were doing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s are what the major studios are doing now. I was doing primarily science fiction, action adventure, and horror.
Right.
And I remember when Jaws came out, Vincent Canby wrote in the New York Times, "What is Jaws but a big budget Roger Corman film?"
Wow.
Now, actually, it was a big budget film, and it was also a better film. But when Jaws came out, and then Star Wars, I realized that the major studios had stolen our thunder, as it were.
Wow, they've taken it to another level.
Yes.
Are there any great stories about the special effects, the low-budget special effects you had to go for?
I think some of the best special effects are the ones that 39 cents. For example, if you have to squash somebody's head, in Hollywood they make a mold. Let's say we had to squash Roger's head. They would make a mold of his head, and it'd be very expensive. They'd sculpt it. And we take a melon, we put a nice wig on it, paint a little happy face, fill it with hamburger meat. See the Toxic Avenger. There it is, and it's pretty real.
I love that. I love it. You know, don't go away, because we're going to go to a short clip about some gory special effects techniques. Gentlemen, watch with me. We're going to be right back.
Take, for example, a thriller, a detective story. Do you think it's sold for what's inside? Not on your life. It's sold for what's outside on the cover. This is a big photographer's studio in America which specializes in covers for thrillers. The recipe is always the same. Take one plump young woman, dice, and brown over a slow fire. While still rare, serve cold.
Lloyd, Roger, did you ever think you would achieve such cult status with your films?
It comes and goes. When the films first came out, they were commercial films that in Europe were taken very seriously, and I think we got some very good reviews and even won a couple of film festivals. Then it faded for a little while, and now we've come back to be some sort of secondary cult.
Which is always the best. What do you think, Lloyd?
Well, again, Troma's, over the years, has, I think, attracted the critics. It took some time for them to understand that what we were doing was we were taking what Roger had pioneered and adding sort of a twist, a comedic twist, I guess, to it. And they finally have understood it recently, so that to some extent the Cinematheque Française has Troma, they've had Troma retrospectives, the American Film Institute.
Lloyd's company and mine are probably the only two really established, functioning, medium and low budget independent companies left.
That have managed to hold up through all the transformation in Hollywood.
Yes, the competition from the majors grows increasingly severe.
But you're in a world of your own. And I wonder, why do you think people, after all these years, are re-attracted to your films and they've become such cult classics? What do you think it is that brings people back in?
I think there's an excitement, a passion to the individual film. The low-budget film can take chances, can experiment, can do things that the major studios with a $50 million or more budget are reluctant to do.
Right. So you guys you're still up and running. So what do you guys do now? What's coming up for both of you?
Well, I'm starting a picture in a couple of weeks called Club Vampire.
Love that.
That goes at my studio in Hollywood, and then I have another studio in Ireland where we're building, we have a subsidy from the Irish government.
Who love artists, who are very supportive.
Yes, very much so.
Right.
We're in Galway, and we're starting a science fiction picture there called Space Jacked.
I love that. What message do you have for today's independent filmmakers?
Well, if you don't mind, I believe the reason that we've been successful or that we have survived as a Troma brand is that we do what's in our heart. The kids who make movies for us and the movies that I make come from the heart, from the soul.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is the most important part of our lives during the period that we're making it. And I think that's the problem with so many lower budget producers is they feel that it's a Chinese menu, that you take one blood bath from column A and a few people with bikinis running through the woods. There's no passion. So you've got to be passionate about it, and you've got to
and have a point of view.
To thine own self be true.
Right.
That's what they said in Romeo and Juliet.
Right on. Roger, what do you think?
I totally agree. I think you have to believe in what you're doing. No matter what the film, you say, I will do my best. I remember when Jonathan Demme directed his first film for me. This was before his Academy Award winning status.
Right.
It was a woman in prison picture. And Jonathan said, I'm going to make the best woman in prison picture ever made.
Brilliant.
And that is the attitude you have to have.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to go on, but hopefully we will go on, and I will get to work with both of you. It's really a pleasure to have you here on the show, and it's an honor. We look forward to seeing you again, and in many different situations.
Very good.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sandra.
You won't want to be going anywhere. Next on Real Wild Cinema.
I'd like to put a bite on you.
You can lose more than your shirt when a vampire arrives in Las Vegas. Stick around. The book our vampire friend in the next film carries around with him at all times is none other than 1001 Ways to Seduce Women. Listen, vampire boy, grab a pencil. I have a couple of more for you. Stop speaking with a Yiddish accent. Unless you're Mandy Patinkin, it's a big turnoff. And also get rid of that Ringo Starr hairdo. It stopped working for Ringo a long time ago, and he's a Beatle, sort of. And finally, I'm sure this one is already in that book of yours. Stop thinking people can't see you skulking around in that tacky red cape of yours. You're scaring the chicks off. Get something more subtle going that doesn't scream bloodletting. My suggestion, check out Siegfried and Roy. Now those boys know how to dress. Here's the horny vampire.
Ah, I see my guests have arrived. I am the Count, it is true. Count Alka, nephew of the great Count Dracula. Such a tender morsel. I must have her. If my uncle, the Count, were here, he would take her moonlight riding, take her to dinner, take her to her apartment. Why they say I'm overdrawn. The female of the species is soft and tender. Ugh. It's cold. That's better. Soft and tender being a creature of beauty. It is only natural. Natural that she should demand in the male someone who is suave. I know why you're thinking. I'm in your neighborhood this late at night. Well, you're right. I'd like to put the bite on you. How's that? That's nice. That's good. Maybe. Man, that was a gas. No. Back to the book.
Next on Real Wild Cinema's Gals and Ghouls, think you have relationship problems? Our next sorted couple will make you feel good about yourself.
If you're going to kill every man I'm going to bed with, you're going to have a very unhappy marriage.
Make me happy. Don't move a muscle until I get back. The one thing that strikes me about these clips tonight, all the houses where bad stuff happens are very poorly maintained. Try a little dusting and the cobwebs will disappear. Use a little lemon pledge and maybe the goblins will leave them. After all, nothing bad ever happens in a clean house, except maybe for Christina Crawford's. Case in point is our next movie, The House on Bear Mountain. Producer Bob Cressy also stars here as an old woman named Granny Good. And I'm less concerned about the flabby upper arms on Granny Good than I am with Frankenstein using his filthy hands to mix the punch. Ugh. Here's The House on Bear Mountain.
A little fishy about little Miss Prudence. I couldn't find her, and to top it off, Krakow had disappeared. It was the full moon, so I decided I'd better check everywhere for old Fuzzy.
The Wolfman looks like a friend of mine who got major side effects from using Rogaine. Our next clip features cannibals that look like Dennis Rodman with a skin condition. From 1964, here's I Eat Your Skin.
Oh, look at that moon.
That's nice. Whoops, bread and butter.
Good Lord, what happened to you?
Welcome back to my private horror. Our next flick features a couple that allows each other the freedom to be exactly who they are. He wears a rubber mask over his head and always points his rifle at his wife. She has sex with every man she ever meets. Watch for their new book in the self-help section of your local bookstore. Here's Nymphs Anonymous.
This is where you go in the daytime to get rid of your headaches. It's quite a layout.
Stan, why did you kill them? I was only talking to them.
Yes, I watched this setup for quite a while. They change their boys every hour on the hour.
Stan, if you're going to kill every man I'm going to bed with, we're going to have a very unhappy marriage. I like peace and quiet. I need you. I can't live without you.
You can't live without me, but you can't live without a lot of other guys either. I hate these crowds in the bedroom.
Stan, please get out of here. These men are dangerous. They are ruthless.
I thought marriage was a private affair between two people.
Sweetheart, you're such a darling, kooky little square. But one man isn't enough for me. Some people smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. I need a carton. I can't live like a nun.
Who says you have to live?
Shoot me.
I have to. I can't let you go on like this.
Well, couldn't you do me at least one favor before I die?
You don't deserve it, but I'll promise just one.
I need you, sex murderer.
I'm no sex murderer. I'm your husband.
Next, hairy monsters badly in need of a balanced diet.
As bloody as anything you will ever see on the motion picture screen.
Stay with us. There's lots more real wild cinema coming up.
You will join the Real Wild Cinema Fan Club. You will be dazzled by a catalog of hundreds of uncut, uncensored, outrageous movies that we can't show on TV. Send $5 for a membership card, catalog, and newsletter, or order the Real Wild Cinema t-shirt for $15, plus $4.95 shipping and handling, and get your membership for free. Send check or money order to Real Wild Cinema, P.O. Box 65073, Seattle, Washington 91155. You will join the Real Wild Cinema Fan Club.
Trailers that feature women in bondage are always a big hit. The other is to make sure the coming attraction is a chesty blonde star doing lots of naked gyrations.
The legend of the Wolf Woman. A century-old family curse. Possessed with an evil that is older than time itself. An evil that turns her life into a bloody and terrifying nightmare that never ends. The legend of the Wolf Woman. Daniela is born and reborn in an act of reincarnation that is as sensual, as violent, as bloody, as anything you will ever see on the motion picture screen. First, she will seduce you with the frenzy of someone possessed. Then, she'll show you the soul of a creature that must devour the men who loved her in order to live. The legend of the Wolf Woman. So brutal, so horrifying that it was kept from the public for over a century. The demented passions in the legend of the Wolf Woman will eat you up.
This man's name is John Austin Fraser. He lived in Chicago, Illinois. He now resides at the State Mental Hospital. We are saddened to tell you that this tragic condition was brought on when Mr. Fraser attended the world premiere of our triple nightmare of horror program, Orgy of the Living Dead. Since this tragic event, the producers of this explosion of terror have established an insurance policy, ensuring the sanity of each and every patron who attends this program. The policy states that in the event you lose your mind or suffer from irrevocable trauma as a result of viewing this avalanche of grisly horror, the producers of this film will ensure that you receive psychiatric care until such time as you are cured, or, in the event that your derangement is permanent, provide you with internment in an asylum for the rest of your natural life. Poor John. It isn't surprising, though, after all, murder, mutilation, death, Blood-sucking vampires, dead things crawling from their graves, living dead maniacs, slashing, rending, devouring the living. It's enough to drive anyone mad. If you have any psychological deficiency, you will not be allowed to attend this orgy of the living dead. The insurance is absolutely free. We urge you to take advantage of this protection. Anyone entering without it does so at his own risk. Ladies and gentlemen, insomuch as you are not now insured, and in the light of what has happened to Mr. Fraser, you will understand why we cannot show you any more than these brief glimpses of this triple avalanche of grisly horror, orgy of the living dead. Please pick up your policies from the box office and have them ready when you enter the theater to see Revenge of the Living Dead, Curse of the Living Dead, and Fangs of the Living Dead.
If it wasn't for tonight's show full of skin-eating cannibals and sex-starved aliens, I'd still be wondering what to be for Halloween this year. Now it's so clear. A wild nympho. Good midnight to ya.